From The Reporter, the paper of record for Delaware County's towns and villages, this is Off the Record, a quick look at the latest county news. I'm Andrew Kantor, and this week we've got an overnight rescue of a 90-year-old, choosing a county ambulance service, desperately seeking foster homes, and more. So let's get to it. Great news out of East Branch this week. After a 2-day search, rescuers found a missing 90-year-old woman with dementia. She had wandered into the woods. Now think about that. A 90-year-old woman disappears for 2 days into the woods, and she is found safe. That is amazing. It took a lot of work from rescue crews from all over the county. There were firefighters, forest rangers, sheriff's deputies. There were even drone teams. And the area they were searching was not any picnic. They finally had to stop overnight on Saturday, but they were back searching first thing Sunday morning, and they found the woman about 9 a.m. They treated her at the scene, and they took her for care, and she's doing fine. And one of the big takeaways from the whole thing? A reminder, don't wait to call 911 when something like this happens. Deputy Emergency Services Coordinator Boomer Boho was very clear. They'd much rather get there and hear you found someone than get there too late. It's budget season around the county, so let's see what's happening in a couple of places. Middletown is looking at raising fees for water in Arkville and Halkettsville, and that would be for both users and non-users. We're talking $15 a month higher for water users and $5 a month for non-users. Meanwhile, Middletown's overall budget for 2026 is kind of a balancing act. The supervisors are going to have to dip into reserve funds to stay within the state's tax cap. So they'll need to increase taxes, but by about 2.6%. And spending next year, it's going to be up about 4% thanks to higher health insurance rates and employee raises. So it could be worse. One interesting flashpoint at the last meeting, ambulance funding. At least one board member wants to cut it in half unless the service improves. There's better news in Walton. That town's proposed budget for next year would actually lower the amount it collects in property taxes, just a little bit, but it still manages to set aside some money for the future, like $30,000 into a new tax reserve and another $50,000 toward highway equipment. In other words, they're cutting spending, building a couple of rainy day funds, and asking residents for a little less. You gotta be impressed. And now some other stuff going on around the county. After crunching a bunch of numbers in a bunch of detail, the Delaware County Public Safety Committee looks like it's going to award the county's ambulance services to American Medical Response. The other possibility was a company called Ambulans with a Z, but AMR had a better deal, and there's also the issue of continuity because the county's been using AMR for a while. AMR would charge the county more for the service, $2.2 million for the first year, but the county gets to keep whatever is billed to patients. Ambulance, on the other hand, would cost less up front, but the company would keep the money that patients paid. Based on previous years, Emergency Services Director Steve Hood said the AMR deal made more sense, and the committee agreed. The return of radio station WDLA later this year is good news for Walton's emergency planning. Council members there are putting together a plan for everyone to be able to keep in touch during an emergency. Not just first responders, but town leaders and, most importantly, the community. Knowing there's a local AM/FM station coming back online will fit in nicely. That said, they're still trying to work out what kinds of radios everyone needs, whether the town can afford them, and how to avoid duplicating equipment. County supervisors agreed to spend about $5,700 of the money they got from the nationwide opioid settlement to buy a vein finder. If you've ever gotten a blood draw and the phlebotomist couldn't find your vein, had to keep poking, it's a lot worse for people with a history of drug abuse, so the new machine's going to make it a lot easier to treat them. Now, the county's still got more than $65,000 in settlement funds sitting around, and it'll be getting more next year. It all goes to help people who got themselves addicted to painkillers thanks to drug pushers masquerading as pharmaceutical companies. The Delaware County Department of Social Services is desperately looking for people who can be foster parents, especially in Delhi, Stamford, and Walton. There are just too many kids in the system, not enough places for them to live. The county provides all the training, it handles the background checks, all the certifications, and yes, foster parents get financial support to help care for the kids. They can even choose what age group and gender they're comfortable caring for. Nobody gets stuck with a bad match. So if you know someone who might be able to help provide a home, have them reach out to the DSS. And that's it for this week's Off the Record. But you know what to do. There's plenty more in the reporter, like how Ed Caitello grew a 530-pound pumpkin. And Margaretville Hospital is officially breaking ground on a new helipad. And of course, there's even more. You just need to pick up the paper, or better yet, subscribe. Head over to the-reporter.net. It's your hometown paper. It's a lot better than getting your news from Facebook. Until next week, I'm Andrew Kantor. Thanks for being here.